Welcome to Talk Birdie To Me. This is Australia's most popular golf podcast with former world number 16 Nick O'Hearn, the only player to beat Tiger Woods twice in match play, and tour pro Mark Allen, who played professional golf around the world for 15 years, including a British Open. We're coming from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. Titleist is the #1 ball in golf, and FootJoy is the #1 shoe and glove in golf. And thanks to our great partners, Watch My Numbers, the most powerful database golf app in the world. Download from the App Store or Google Play. Ping, as with Nick O'Hearn, will help you play your best. See your local golf shop or professional for a Ping Club fitting. The Golf Clearance Outlet beat everyone's prices. Visit golfclearanceoutlet.com.au for your nearest store. And Better, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. Now that's better. Now, from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, it's time for Talk Birdie To Me. Here's Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
This tournament means a lot to me. It's my first start as a pro 11 years ago. I had my sister caddying for me. She's back there too. So, it's it feels like a lifetime of hard work and sacrifice for little moments like these, and they're pretty special.
Well, nice to hear some emotion from Scottie Scheffler, the world #1, because we didn't see much emotion from him from the week, Nick. Honestly, he's played golf which was so sublime it was a joke, and I hardly saw him crack a smile.
It was the most effortless 31 under I've ever seen, actually.
Now, look, we're going to talk to him a little bit later, but there is some big news brewing, and it's to do with the Australian Open, which is one of our favourite topics, let's be honest, because we don't know much of what is going on. It is in May. No official announcement has been made. We know that Neiman from the Live Tour kind of spilt the beans a little bit and said it's going to be played at Royal Melbourne. But on 3AW's rumour file, and for folks who aren't understanding of one of the biggest radio programs in the country, Ross Stevenson is the host, has been for 40 years. He put on the rumour file this week that Rory McIlroy will be playing in the Australian Open, and that Australian Open will be at Royal Melbourne, Nick.
Wow.
That's big news.
That is huge news.
That's huge news.
Well, the best thing I love about... And look, I think let's get it straight. If we say the Australian Open is going to be at Royal Melbourne composite course,
yes,
how many ears prick up of all the best golfers around the world?
Stacks.
They go, hang on, it's at the composite?
Yep.
That's it's not actually the 7th best course in the world. I was actually looking at the rankings earlier. I went through, what's the top 10 courses? Royal Melbourne West ranks number 7. West. Now, the composite, as we know, is much better.
I will happily say that Royal Melbourne composite is 35% better, 30 or 40% better than the West.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a top 5 golf course in the world.
Exactly. Now, number 8, funnily enough, sitting right behind Royal Melbourne West is Oakmont, where the US Open is on.
Yes.
9's Augusta. We just had the Masters.
Yes.
Port Rush, I had a look, is number 16.
Yes.
Number 16. So Royal Melbourne West, and we're talking composite, slide that up another few spots. If you had the Australian Open there, we would have the best golf course in the world having a tournament this year. Wouldn't that be something?
It'd be enormous. Look, it would be enormous. And, we are, I don't want to say we are critical, but we wonder an awful lot what is going on in the world of the people who run the Australian Open, because it is May. We still don't have anything in concrete. Rory McIlroy has been vocal, though, hasn't he? I mean,
he said if it was at Kingston Heath, he would love to play.
Yep.
Probably a good thing he didn't, because it would have been not the Kingston Heath he was hoping for last year, because the weather wasn't in our favour, obviously. The format's changed since, so I'm sure that's going to work for him. If we get a firm, fiery Royal Melbourne composite, look out. And I think then you may see some of the other international players, and then all of a sudden maybe the sponsors come running and go, hey, we want to be involved because it's at the best golf course in the world this year.
And don't forget, I reckon about 2 months ago, Nick, he actually spoke about the Australian Open and that it should be one of the premier events in the whole world.
I think we need bigger events in Australia. I think the Australian Open needs to be put up, and sort of held to a higher you know, the Australian Open was always a very big tournament back in the day, and I think that could be one that could be elevated.
So, looking back now, that tells me that it's probably been in the mix for him for a while. Someone's reached out. I'm assuming Ian Baker Finch, who is over there all the time and talks to Rory.
Talking to the guys,
and if you don't know, Ian Baker Finch now is the chairman of the Australian PGA, which is a huge role in golf in this country.
Yep.
So either Finchie's reached out or James Sutherland and the Australian Open organisers have reached out. Someone's reached out to him a while ago and said, would you be interested? And Rory's a believer. I mean, he's come down here quite often to play in the Australian Open. Now, the next thing is, that's great. Fingers crossed. Let's hope he comes down, because the tickets will sell out automatically. You know, to have the reigning US Masters champion to come down to Royal Melbourne, people will fly in from everywhere. They'll fly in from New Zealand. They'll fly in from Queensland. They'll fly in for a number of reasons too. One, to get to Melbourne, to see Royal Melbourne, and to see Rory McIlroy play.
Wouldn't that? I'm getting goosebumps already.
Yeah, well,
because I remember we had the Heineken back in 2005, 6-ish.
Yep.
Unfortunately,
you got rolled in the playoff.
I got rolled in the playoff, but I had never seen. I don't think I've seen bigger crowds in a tournament here in Australia that I've ever played in. It was that 18th, which was RM East, the 18th of the composite, had the biggest crowds I've ever seen.
I reckon it was 5 or 6 deep for the entire hole, and then when you got around the green, it might have been 15 deep.
I know, and that was we played with Craig. I played with Craig Parry and Jared Lyle that final round, and that was obviously an incredible story for Jared as well. So,
well, that was his coming out, wasn't it? That was Jared Lyle. It was the first we kind of knew about him. Kid from Shepparton, talented, and hung in there at a big tournament like the Heineken Open. And, you talk about Heineken Opens and you talk about Johnny Walker Classics. I mean, they were always there.
They were.
They were always at Royal Melbourne. And, some of the best Europeans used to come down and play it. And that's why it was a premier event, because
Ernie Els come and play. Remember that year?
Right. When he shot 60.
61 or 60, whatever it was.
He shot 60.
60, okay.
and can you remember the New Zealand kid who shot 61 the day before, or it might have even been the same day, and the Royal Melbourne officials were a bit worried because, can you remember his name?
The New Zealand kid.
Richard Lee.
Oh, okay.
So R. Lee was up on the leaderboard at 61. Richards was a hell of a player.
Yeah, he was.
Didn't go on to great things in golf, but he could play. The kid could play. There was no doubt about that. And shooting 61 at Royal Melbourne tells you all you need to know. But they were very happy. When Ernie Els came along and shot one better. and Ernie Els was the course record holder and not Richard Lee.
Ali or ELs.
ELs is the one.
Yeah, who knows?
It's funny, because Royal Melbourne, we've never seen the greens as soft as they were after those two scores. The 61 and 60 changed that golf course forever. I reckon they all got their heads together at Royal Melbourne and said, well, we're never going to let that happen again. And if you're lucky enough to get through the gates and play either course, the East or the West, and if you're really lucky, the composite, the greens are so crazy hard that it's very difficult to get your ball next to the hole.
The Wednesday comp there is the firmest greens on tour all year, basically.
All year. Anywhere in the world?
Pretty much anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world.
I would have to agree with you there. But you've just given me an idea, because if Rory's coming, wouldn't it be... Okay, here's my top 5. I'm gonna work on this.
Yeah.
Realistic. We have to go with realistic players. Top 5 international realistic players that we could get down here. So,
all right. Well, Rory's going to be one of them.
Rory's one of them now.
Rory's one
obviously, of them. But I'll put my thinking cap on for that.
I'm going to start thinking now.
Hey, before we move on from Rory, Mark, so you know this story, you know the rumour, and you've got some inside intel.
Yeah.
In your view, I want you to call it out. In your view, is Rory a lock?
Well, I know Ross Stevenson quite well. Well enough to call him a friend. And I called him and I said, is it fair dinkum? And he said, yeah, as far as I can tell, it's fair dinkum, and something would have to change. So as we speak here right now, it's going to happen, but we all know in the sporting world that things can change.
He would have some pretty good sources as well.
He's got some fabulous sources.
Not quite as good as yours, but...
Well, when we're talking about major sporting events in Melbourne, he's got a better link
I'm sure.
than I do. In the golf world, I've got some handy ones. Yeah. But Ross Stevenson, as far as Melbourne events, he sits with some pretty connected people. So as we sit here today, I think it's right, based on that. Now,
I would love it to happen.
we'll give Roscoe the out because things can change.
Sure.
Now, I want to move on and talk about future Australian Opens, because getting one out of the box is great. But if Rory comes down for one and one only, what happens in 2026? Do we just go back to the old status quo? And see, this is why I would love to know what the people on the board at the Australian Open, what they think is right for not only the Australian Open, but for the Australian Tour, if you can call it a tour these days. I don't think you can call it a tour. I think what we've got to look for is an Australian swing on the European Tour.
Sure.
I don't hear enough noise from Golf Australia, and to be fair, the PGA of Australia, when we're talking about a swing in world golf down here in Australia. Now, once upon a time, it was the greatest mini tour in the world. We all know that. Back when you were getting beaten by Craig Parry in playoffs, and you know, and I was making enough money to live, and not, you know, not really
shooting course records at Lake Karrinyup.
That's right, but not really threatening major tournaments, but certainly getting around and everything. Life was good. That's not happening at the moment, and we need a plan.
Well, we're in a building process at the moment. I think we've got a lot of these smaller events obviously going on, and they are small, $250,000, which is great for our up-and-coming players to play in.
Yes.
Obviously, the alignment with the DP World Tour there is very much helping us.
Yes.
We'd love to see the big three back, the Masters, the PGA, and the Open all elevated a little bit more.
3.
I mean, the PGA is doing a great job with BMW, how they've elevated that event, and it's just going to get better and better. I know Wolfgang, the CEO, and he's passionate about the game and wants to really push that to the next level. The Australian Open, obviously, we've tried the format changes with the men and the women. We found that probably doesn't work for how the Opens
how they should run.
The Masters, I can't wait to see how Huntingdale looks. Wouldn't it be fantastic if we could get it back there? The swing you're talking of, is it a pipe dream? Maybe, but I'd love to see it happen. Obviously, how we get there, that's the biggest thing.
Well, that's why there needs to be a plan. And when I talk to my friends in that building in Sandringham, I never hear about the plan.
Okay.
And this is I've put this plan on the table a number of times. If we had all of our smaller events before Christmas, and maybe the Vic Open and the New South Wales Open, the two biggest ones, even though the Vic Open last year was only $200,000 events or $250,000 events.
By the way, going off on a little tangent here, did I hear New South Wales Golf is doing something with Liv's management company 54 or whatever it is?
That's right. So
that'll be interesting to see where that goes.
Golf New South Wales are really trying to turbocharge what they've already got.
Okay.
And they're kind of hinging their wheels to the people from the Live organisation or people who help the Live organisation. It seems like a pretty switched-on move to me.
Maybe, yeah. We'll see how that pans out. I just glossed over the article the other day, but I thought, okay, that sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it does sound interesting. I'm with you.
And you know Michael Medway, obviously.
Well, he's been on the program. It was a controversial episode. Got people talking about it, but Michael is, he's such a headstrong chairman of the New South Wales Open, and he is desperate for that to succeed. We know that. To the point where, I think he's actually invited you and I to play in the seniors, New South Wales Open seniors. I'm not sure whether that's going to happen, Michael, but
we'll see.
We'll see. We'll definitely see. But that's a hugely successful event as well.
I guess some good names playing.
They've got some big names playing. They've got 3 enormous women's events in New South Wales. They've got the biggest, New South Wales Open, 800,000 last year.
Anyway, I took you off on a tangent there. Sorry.
So they're going really well. But if we had all of our smaller events, if we can get organised and have our smaller events before Christmas, have the New South Wales Open and the Vic Open as lead-ins to the Australian swing and Australasian. And, you have a Masters event in Melbourne. You have the Australian Open somewhere else. You have the PGA in Queensland. You go across and you're playing the New Zealand Open hopefully it's not a pro-am by the time this gets up and going. And it's a fair income swing where European tour players can come down and play. And if you had our swing up against the South African swing, then you would find that European players would split. And some would go to South Africa, some would go to Australia, and there would be a lot of spots open for local players here. Then, and I hate this, I hate harping on it, but if all of our smaller tournaments, you know how they have this top 5 thing on the
Aon swing,
the Aon 5, I think is what they call it. Yeah, I think one of the
PGA Tour,
one of the Højgaard brothers just beat his own brother out of the 5th spot,
and Van Rooyen got one of the spots and then said he hated it.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll talk about that later.
But they've got that. If you had a sort of position where you're rewarded for your play in the smaller events before Christmas and the 2 biggies, the Vic Open and the New South Wales Open after Christmas. If the top 40 or the top 50 were rewarded with a spot in the Australasian swing, well, now you're talking. Okay. And maybe you've got to build it so the sponsors will come. You know, maybe that's the leap of faith that is required. But look, you know, everything's speculation at the moment.
Yeah.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, Rory McIlroy comes and it is a turning point for Australian golf. But if next year, in 2026, the Australian Open is still in the most poisonous date position possible that we could ever have, followed by the Australian PGA, followed by a New Zealand Open Pro-Am, then, you know, we're just peddling away. And nothing really will change. And that's a real shame.
Jeez.
What do you think, Dan?
Well, I mean, Mark, you made a comment before. You said that you don't know the plan. They haven't mentioned the plan. Devil's advocate.
Yeah.
They may have a plan that they don't feel the need to share with you.
That's fine. That's fine. But it's been like that for 20 years. They're not sharing their plan. They haven't shared their plan for 20 years.
Okay.
So that's the issue. So, you know, if I'm looking down the barrel, I'm looking at you. Everybody at the GA and everybody at the PGA, fantastic, well done. Let's get Rory here. But what's the plan? Are we just going to do the same thing over and over and hope for a white knight to come along? Or are we going to try and build something that is sensational, something that we can springboard off, something that our young players can play in, graduate to, and springboard their careers? Because that's what's required. And what we've been doing for the last 25 years, well, we've seen what's happening. The Australian Open is slowly nosediving. And 100%, the Australasian swing is non-existent on any tour anywhere in the world. 2 tournaments in a row doesn't count.
Well, let me make some phone calls, Mark, and see if we can find out what the plan is, because I'm sure there's something there, and they're working away tirelessly. But
anyway,
time will tell.
Hopefully, next week we say there's an announcement. Well done, you've got Rory. But it's a nice place to start. But come on.
Exactly. So, but some other great Australian news I thought was Jeff Oglivy being announced President's Cup captain
at Medina.
Where
Oglivy, Cocking and Mead just won the award, or last year's award, the 2024 award, for the best golf course facelift, for lack of the right term. So an Australian group on a legendary American golf course did such a good job that it won an American award.
Incredible.
That is incredible. Yeah. So it's a beautiful harmonic fit, isn't it? Well, it's lovely.
If you want a captain that knows the golf course, well, you've got Jeff Oglivy right there front and centre.
Who's the other captain on the US team?
Brant Snedeker. Snedeker for the US. So he's a good guy, Brant. Jeff's obviously a great guy, and it'll be a fun one next year. See how, you know, we've had, on the international side, we've had so much trouble, I guess, over the years. We've only won one at Royal Melbourne, funnily enough, back in 98.
1-1 and drawn one.
1-1, drawn one. The rest of losses, I've lost count how many losses it's been now. I was involved in a couple, but one of those years we got really close. But the last few years I thought, okay, they've started to figure out a bit more of a plan, a system, and then unfortunately it all fell away again in Montreal. But the couple of events prior to that, the one here at Royal Melbourne with Ernie, the one at Quail Hollow, I thought was a little closer as well. And hopefully Jeff can continue that momentum and get them across the line.
I've never asked you, when you were playing, like we'd only won one and probably drawn one, and we'd been belted an awful lot.
Yep.
So what was the talk like in the locker room? I mean, what was going on? Was it mentioned? Was it, come on, we need to save this tournament? You know, we need to...
Not really. No. Again, did we have a plan going into the week? Not really. That was the bad point about, I think, the years that I played was... And look, no offence to Gary Player, the captain, but he was a real inspirational sort of guy, but... I think it was more the assistant captains who, like Ian Baker-Finch was there, and he was amazing behind the scenes, really helping the guys sort of making pairings and really helping with those.
He'd be perfect at that role.
Gary was more the front man. It was a shame that Finchy unfortunately never got to be a captain of a President's Cup. It's past
Royal Melbourne?
Oh, here we go. Wouldn't that be something?
Wouldn't that be great? I'd love to see him.
I kind of thought maybe it's past...
Sorry, at Kingston Heath. Sorry, I've got Royal Melbourne on the mind. When the President's Cup is played at Kingston Heath, well, Ian Baker-Finch is on the record saying that Kingston Heath is his favourite golf course in Australia, which, you know, you're not silly for saying that.
That would be perfect, I think. That'd be a fitting way.
That'd be a great way
for it to happen. And I almost thought, well, is it past his time to be captain now? Because he hasn't been announced in the last couple. They gave it to Trevor and Mike Weir and now Jeff Oglivy. So just going back to your point about what we thought about during the week was. The first one was in Washington, D.C. We felt we had a really strong team. We could take it to them. We did. We lost by maybe a point. The second time around in Royal Montreal, it almost felt like it was an away game because it was still in North America, even though it was Canada. So, and I don't think the preparation was there in the weeks, the months leading up to it. It was more you arrive and then you kind of figure things out as you go. Now it's several months in advance, a year in advance maybe, where they're actually going, right, what are our teams looking like? How are we going to prepare for this sort of thing? And that's the way it should be done.
Hey, you mentioned Medina. Can't wait to see what it looks like on TV. But this week on the PGA Tour, and we'll talk about Scheffler in a tick, folks. But this week on the US Tour, they're playing at which cricket club?
Philadelphia
Cricket Club.
Not the MCC, but the PCC.
Yes, right. So you and I have heard about this joint probably all our lives. I've never seen it. Seen little
Neither
pictures,
have I.
like little stills is all I've seen. You know, and I can't wait to see it. It's like I can't wait to see Medina. It's like I bet Americans can't wait to see Royal Melbourne Composite. Yeah. Last week, the ladies, they played at some Black Desert Golf Club.
Black Desert Mountain.
You know,
lava rocks. So it looked fantastic.
It looked sensational.
And that's what you need. You need these tournaments at iconic sort of venues. And this Philadelphia, I think a lot of the players are really fired up to play there because they've heard about it. It's one of these boutique style golf courses, I guess might be the best way of describing it. A real artisan sort of place. So I can't wait to see the pictures and to see how it plays out. And unfortunately, they're not going to have Scottie Scheffler there because he's taking a week off.
Well, you must be able to do that because Rory took the Heritage off.
The signature events.
The signature event. So Scheffler's taken this signature event off. Nice place to do it too because you got Quail Hollow coming up and it's a major the week after.
I think he's timed it beautifully.
Oh, he's done well.
He played in his hometown, which is a smaller event, and if he hadn't have played, the field wouldn't have been that great, but he obviously streeted the field and it worked to perfection. But now he's got the week off to rest, recharge, probably go up there, do some pre-tournament work as he would do, whereas Rory is playing, and all the stars are playing this truest championship at Philadelphia. So they're going to have a fairly long week ahead of him, and then they will go straight into a major. Now, Rory doesn't need that much prep for Quail Hollow because, he won there 4 times, so, you know.
Hey, Dan, could you just Google something for me? Just my mind's working overtime. Do they play cricket at the Philadelphia Cricket Club or do they just play golf? I would like to know because it would be stupid enough.
Isn't it?
It would be stupid enough to where they probably play golf and it's just been known as a cricket club for 150 years or something. Surely they still play cricket. Surely.
All right, so hang on. By the way, the voicemail sound went off a second ago. We should check that.
Okay,
Do they play cricket
at the Philadelphia Cricket Club?
Philadelphia.
I wonder if you get the right club.
Yeah, well,
I wonder if you get the right club because there may well be a Philadelphia Cricket Club.
Here we go. Here we go. Cricket was played from Philadelphia Cricket Club's inception until the 1920s. It was revived about 20 years ago and has enjoyed steady support since. Cricket is a team. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So, they do.
Well, there you go.
Does Philadelphia have
until the 20s? Then it
came back 20 years ago.
So is there a picture of their cricket ground?
What do I look like?
I'd like to see
Google
it.
King or something?
They might just play on the first fairway, for all we know.
Maybe.
Okay, hang on.
Maybe it is on the first.
Oh, here's their
fairway, who
team.
knows?
They've got a team. Have a look at that.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at the team.
Oh, they got the jerseys. I mean, the tops,
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Yeah,
you can see-
that looks like a cricket
Love it.
team.
Yeah, it's on the
does.
screen. It's a team. It's a team.
Yeah, righto.
How good.
Now,
Scheffler or voicemail? What do you want to do?
Charles, voicemail, please.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, voicemail.
Okay.
You have one new voicemail. New message.
G'day, boys. Just wondering, did you notice in the Masters coverage with Rory in the final round and actually all rounds, they never showed the ball speed on the TrackMan? They showed where the ball was going, but never showed the actual ball speed or club speed. Another thing, didn't Angel get done for some pretty bad crimes back in Argentina or Brazil? Tried to escape the law. Now he's back on the Champions Tour. So go figure. I thought you couldn't work in the States if you were a ex-con. Thanks, boys. Hopefully you can help me. Bye.
Okay, so with Angel, I know the story to this. He's still an American citizen, so he got his green card, and in America, clearly, they're quite happy to give somebody a second chance, no matter how bad or appalling his crime was, and we know how appalling it was, but he's got a second chance in life, and he's making pretty good use of it too, winning tournaments and winning lots of money. But he is an American citizen still.
Right. Okay.
So
He's got the
American-
green card.
he's got the green
yeah,
card, yeah.
Okay. So he's still able to work in the States. That kind of makes sense. Yeah, I was wondering about that myself
Yeah.
when he brought that up, actually. He just won a tournament on the Champions Tour a few weeks ago too.
Yeah, that's right. Now, the chairman of Augusta spoke before the Masters and didn't like how far the golf ball was going. Didn't think the equipment, the size of the equipment, was suitable for professional golf, which
He's obviously been listening to the pod.
He listens to our pod. So that aligns with what most people who have the best golf courses in the back of our minds at heart. That we don't want those golf courses deemed unsophisticated for modern golf. It would be a crime for that to happen, in my view. So I imagine they've probably got into the ears of the production team and said, listen, we're not interested in seeing how fast that ball is going here at Augusta.
Yeah, we just want to know where it's going.
We want to know
which
where
is why
it's
they had the
going.
tracer up and I guess not the ball speed, which I don't mind.
Yeah.
Look, men at the Masters, they do whatever they want. And if what they want is this, that's exactly what they'll get.
Well, they're doing an awful lot right, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
I'm not arguing with them.
No.
At any stage. They are absolutely killing it. Hey, Steph Kyriakou, did you see her albatross?
yes.
Have you had an albatross?
I never have.
I've never had an albatross either.
Closest I came was I was playing a Pro-Am back in WA.
Yeah.
And par 5, drove it in the rough.
Yeah.
Chipped it 10 metres sideways and then hold my 3-wood for an eagle.
Oh, you're kidding me.
So
Not quite.
No, it's not quite. But anyway,
I was playing in a scramble at Victoria Golf Club last month,
the first hole,
the 18th hole.
18th.
So they used
Okay.
my drive down the 18th hole. It was downwind from the front tees. We had a 7-iron in,
Yeah.
and it stopped this far short, right in the jaws.
Oh,
I would have counted it too,
Yeah.
even though it was a scramble. Because
No, it was your tee
It
shot,
was my
so,
tee
yeah,
shot.
that's fair enough.
And my second shot.
Wow.
But no, I've never had one.
No, well,
Can
there
we
you
see
go.
it, Dan?
Join the club.
Can you whack it on the screen for us? Yeah. Because to do it on the, was it the 72nd hole?
It was on the last hole. She's outside the top 10, and this shot on a par 5. Have a look at the rocks in the background too.
The
So
course looks superb on the TV.
for our audio listeners, we're just
Steph
watching
Kyriakou coming home at
Steph
18.
rip one, little 5-wood into the
She's
last.
swinging well.
moment ago.
She's a very good player and
But this never looked like missing.
Oh, come on. Are we going to
Bang.
get the albatross?
perfect speed, right. I mean, middle stump, wasn't
Yeah. I don't think she even knew it went in because I think it's just slightly raised, so she couldn't tell. And then that got her into a tie for 6th.
So
bank manager
money-wise-
was very happy.
It's probably made her an extra 150,
I don't think it was that much this event.
Extra
maybe,
100?
Maybe 50 or 60. So.
extra 60.
Okay, that'll do.
That'll do us. That's still pretty handy. 60 US.
It's not bad.
It's Australian.
That's a hunch.
That's a hunch Australian, 100 Australian pesos.
Yeah, not bad.
So that's very, very good. So we've got a masterclass to get to. We've got a top 6 from you in our top 5 segment. That's all coming up.
We never did get to Scottie. What
No.
have we
We've
done?
got to talk about
I
Scottie.
mean, come on. He just wants to rush through.
31
these. It's
under, and
great,
you're rushing over it.
I looked at his stats, Nick.
Yes, I had a look at a couple
What
as well.
do you think improved to get him to 31 under
I
par?
wonder.
He was the number 1 putter for the week.
plus 6 strokes gained, I believe. Was he number one? I thought he was 6th.
I'll get it up.
I thought he was 6th in putting, but the other thing was because his ball striking this season has been good, but it hasn't been 2024-ish, okay? It hasn't been the same as last year.
That's right. What's his first win?
But
his first win.
This week, and Phil Mickelson said on Twitter, I think it was, that Scottie wouldn't win before the Ryder Cup, so he might have been a little bit wrong there, Phil. Likes to sort of throw the stuff around. But I think he was plus 13 strokes off from tee to green, so that is scary.
Right,
what that means is he's 13 shots better than the average in the field.
So I've got his all-round, okay? This is for the whole week. So off the tee for the whole week, he was ranked number 3.
Was he?
Approach to the green, he's probably number one every week.
Most weeks.
Most week he's either 1, 2 or 3. Around the green, wasn't that flash, 57. Shots gained putting, he was 6th.
There you go.
And, of course, shots gained, if you win the tournament, you're always number 1.
But for him, it's all about putting, really, because he hits the ball. Even his B and C game with his long game is still good enough to win. It's more about can he make the putts.
So shots gained, he was number 1, but putts per green in regulation.
Oh, that's what you're looking at. Okay.
He was number 1 for the week. So when you hit it the closest, and you also have putts per green as number 1, but that man is going to win by a long, long way.
Have a listen to this stat. He opens with a 10 under 61, low round of the day.
Yes.
Round 2. 8 under 63, low round of the day.
Equal.
Have you ever heard of back-to-back low rounds of the day? And then in the final round, he would have had the low round of the day or tied for, but he bogeyed 17, so he ended up having the 4th lowest round.
And basically, he parred 18, but that's a bogey for him as well.
And then,
so he's finished bogey, basically.
So he was second lowest round the last day. First 2 days, he was lowest round. Third day, his shocking round of 66. He had the 4th best round. So that adds up to an 8-shot win over second, and I think it was 11 over third. So
it's danger for Quail Hollow, because Quail Hollow is a ball striker's golf course, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And if he putts reasonable around there, doesn't have to putt great. If he putts reasonable, it could be a 5-shot win. And we're going to have to do some interesting things with our multi with that, I think.
Yeah, I think we will. We got Hummer coming in next week, don't we? For the Bet US PGA special. Yeah. So look out for that one as well. We promise to make you some money this time. Nick won't stuff it up.
Just don't pick Sepp Straka, please.
Nick won't stuff it up. Nick will not stuff it up this time. Yeah. All right, we've got a top 5 coming up after the break that's guaranteed to be a top 6.
Ooh. Of course.
How does the best get better? With more speed off the tee. More control with your irons. More spin with your wedges. Introducing the all-new Pro V1 and Pro V1X.
We're live from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. We all know the number 1 ball in golf is Titleist and the number 1 shoe and glove in golf is FootJoy. We're here thanks to the Golf Clearance Outlet. They beat everyone's prices. Ping will always help you play your best. Turn your bogeys into birdies with the Watch My Numbers app, and Better, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. That's better. Now, back to Talk Birdie To Me. Here's Nick and Mark.
Okay, let's get going. We've got a top 5 to get to. Might be a top 6, who knows. Also, I'm doing the masterclass, and you're going to have a good look at my Premier shoes. I'm telling you, folks, the FootJoy Premier. I don't know what they've built into the sole of this thing.
Comfy?
Comfy, but stable. Honestly, my feet have never been more stable swinging a golf club than I am in the Premiers, even better than the old Premiers. So do yourself a favour, folks.
Okay.
If you've got a birthday coming up, go get yourself some. Order them from the Pro Shop.
They're the only shoe for your feet on the golf course.
Look out for them.
Now, Nick, you've got prior form with your top 5s being 6s, 7s, I think 8. We might have even had 9 at some point in time.
Who knows what it's going to be.
What is it today?
I can't promise anything.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks to Brad.
No, I'm going to try and do a top 5.
Well, thanks to Brad and the great team at Southern Golf Club. This is I saw a photo on their, I think it was Facebook page the other day, it might have been Instagram, of Southern. It's the most beautiful photography around that ground.
Yeah, it's good.
It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it's good.
Anyway.
They put the clubhouse in the right spot. It's really good.
So good. Anyway, top 5 for Southern.
Top 5, top 5, top 5.
The Talk Birdie To Me Top 5, thanks to Southern Golf Club.
Top 5, top 5, top 5.
Okay, get ready, boys.
So what is it? The top 5?
The top 5
gettables,
international players that we can realistically get for the Australian Open.
Nice.
Is that the longest top 5
that's
opener
right.
you've heard?
That's good. I like it.
So it's got to be realistic.
Yes.
But at the same time, you could dream a little.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway.
But hey, if Royal Melbourne composite is in the background,
ooh, yeah,
it does. It
exactly.
does make,
it helps.
makes it a little bit sweeter to come down.
Bets are off.
Helps. Yeah. Now, my 5th spot, well, just because we mentioned him earlier, it's Rory. Realistically, can we get him? I hope, but your friend Ross is spot on. So yeah, exactly. So Rory, number 5.
Right, nice.
I would love to, think a player like Ludwig you could get down here, but I'm not sure your Texas Tech connections can do that. So he's not in this top 5. Okay,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But
he
I
knows
was thinking
my name.
about him.
I'm not sure he knows my name.
Okay.
I wonder if he beat any of my records though. I'd like to see.
Now, what do you think realistically the chance of getting Bryson? Because I would love to have Bryson here. He's my number 4. I think Bryson DeChambeau. He has been down here before. I played with him at the Australian Masters when it was at Huntingdale. He was an amateur back then, but first I'd ever seen of this kid, and he was unbelievable, obviously. And he's gone on to prove what an outstanding player he is.
I saw him at the Australian Open before he bulked up. I was doing Australian Open radio, and he was playing then. I went down and had a look at him, and he was just pretty handy sort of player. I saw him on the range, and I was thinking, wow, you swing different, but that ball moves well.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's been here before, so we've got a chance. He's a live player. Money's not an issue getting him down here because he's got plenty of it, so maybe there's other ways we can entice.
Did he play the President's Cup team when it was at Royal Melbourne last time around?
Good question. Yes, he did. He did. Because I think, didn't they have to either raise the net or move him back further on the range or something? Because he was blasting balls into the greenkeepers'
They had to put a tee all the way back.
That's right, yeah, just for Bryson. So anyway, he's my number 4. Number 3, another live player who I think, again, realistically, I don't know, but he always talks about the history of the game, how the greats have won on the great courses.
It's a good start.
John Rahm, the Spaniard.
I reckon he's gettable.
I think he's a chance.
He's gettable.
A live player doesn't need the money. He's already got. We can't pay him enough to come. So
remember, he came down. The first time anyone had ever seen him was at the World Cup at Kingston Heath. He was playing for Spain. And if you don't know Kingston Heath, the 17th hole is a blind hole. You can't see the flag. There's a really big flag, and you hit your shot to it. John Rahm became the first person in history who could see the bottom of the flag that week. He hit it to the top of the hill. No one's ever seen it before.
That is a big hit.
So he's come down. He's played at Kingston Heath.
Yep.
Loved Kingston Heath. Absolutely loved the place.
I wonder if he got around in at Royal.
Don't know.
Oh, let's hope not.
Because I don't know.
I think he's a chance. I think he's a good chance.
Well, I'd love to see him down here.
Yeah, same here. I think we need a Rioja sponsor, and we'd be just fine. Get the Spanish Riojas out. But anyway, he's my number 3. Number 2, look, I mean, he may as well just hop on the jet with Rory. He's his best mate, Shane Lowry.
No.
Wouldn't you love to see him down here? And if he won, imagine the party afterwards.
Oh, my God.
The celebrations.
Righty O'Reilly's. Look out.
Let's go to the place where it has the best Guinness. That's for sure.
Right.
So,
that's right.
Shane Lowry, number 2. And number 1, I think the most realistic international player we can get is someone who does play. He's an American, plays over in Europe quite a bit, supports West Ham United. We need to bring him down here to Australia. Billy Horschel. Billy Ho.
Billy's gettable.
He's an international type player and fun guy, very out there. He's very outspoken. Some of his mannerisms, like watching him putt, it looks as though he's trying to take a pee, a dog trying to take a pee or something like that.
It's unusual.
It's very unusual. But,
to the point of almost being annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
However, I think he's our most realistic chance of getting a good international player down. So
clearly you've got one more, have you?
No,
that's it.
I mentioned Ludwig, but that was...
Where are the streamers and the balloons? That is fabulous. That's a top 5.
Look, I could say a fellow lefty like Akshay Bhatia, but I'm not sure he'll want to travel down here.
You should have put him in.
Nah, it's okay.
Akshay would have been great.
He would be really good.
All right, we've got a lot of feedback to get through, guys. Okay. We might smash through some of this, and we've got so much. We might do a feedback pod later in the week, as usual.
Perfect.
All right, let's go. A couple of weeks ago, you guys were talking about mulligans, and that was because of a listener suggestion from memory. Her name was Skylar. And Skylar said, how about some mulligans, the top 5 mulligans, which I think, Nick, you might have counted that down.
I think I did, yeah.
Was it a 5 or a 6?
Probably.
It would have been a 6.
Yeah, it probably was. Michael's written in, g'day guys, another strong contender for the top 5 mulligan list would be your show favourite, Colin Montgomery's second shot on the 72nd hole of the 2006 US Open at Winged Foot, that Oglivy won.
That's right.
You know why I didn't put that in?
Why? Because you have to be given a mulligan.
Because he doesn't deserve a mulligan.
You got to be given a mulligan.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, wow.
Just for my buddy here.
Thank you, buddy.
Goodness me. You are lining him up,
Apparently
aren't you?
that was in a divot.
I'm not. He just had to take forever because he was waiting for his playing partner to hit in. I think he was playing with VJ.
Yeah.
And if he'd have just got to his ball, went through and hit, I think he would have been fine. But he had to wait, and the weight killed him. So
I think it was in a divot.
I thought that was Jeff. I know Jeff Ogilvy's ball was in a divot.
Was it?
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm not sure
Jeff.
about Colin.
Right. We'll have to go back.
Go back in the
I'll have
footage.
to go back and see.
Anyway.
Okay, got a message here from Daniel. Daniel has said, I've just listened to the chat with Ryan French from Monday Q. That Mona Lisa story was awesome. Thank you, boys.
Yeah. That was a beauty.
That was an absolute ripper.
Yeah,
now, I tell you something interesting. Literally, just as we've been talking, I've got an email that's come in that is relevant to the pod with Ryan French, the Monday Q pod.
Okay.
Right.
This is from Todd Balkin.
Ah, Todd.
Hey, Toddy.
Yes.
From Texas, the Aussie player who qualified, right?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Was working at
that
the
he was
pizza
talking
shop.
Monday
about.
Cube, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The PGA Tour event.
So Todd said, hey, Nick and Mark, huge fans of the show. I grew up in Caloundra on the sunny coast and I now live in Dallas. Awesome. I was actually on the 18th green when Nick holed out for the win against Peter Lonard to win the PGA at Coolum. It's my fondest memory from a kid. I heard the episode with Ryan French and heard him talking about my time at the Byron Nelson. From a small town kid from Caloundra to getting to tee it up with guys like yourselves who I idolise was awesome.
Wow.
Isn't that great?
That's great.
So good.
That's great. How he found out, I mean, he obviously listens to the pod, but
brilliant.
Side note, and this is also from Todd, side note, you guys might remember the name Adam Levisconte.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He's a good coach.
Played a long time in Australia and Asia. He owned the Eagle Boys pizza franchise and let me work at night and play and practice during the day. Love what the show's about. Cheers, Todd. How
Isn't
good's
that fantastic? Imagine that, you're at home, you're listening to a podcast that makes you think about Australia and your own name comes up.
There you go. Isn't that brilliant? Adam Levisconte, I haven't heard that name in a while.
Not for a long, long time.
He was the king of Pro-Am circuits.
Yeah, he
too.
was.
Yeah, but
I didn't know he owned Eagle Boys.
No, neither did I. But
Well done.
Todd, I think he got to play that practice round with John Sendon, and given he's from Caloundra.
That's right.
I mean, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it
for
would
him
have
to
been
play
sensational.
as well.
Good luck to play with Sendo.
Yeah. Oh, he's a ripper.
He's a good
He's
one.
a beauty.
I don't know if he owned Eagle Boys or owned a franchise of Eagle Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just to be, just to be clear. Oh, either way, it's good though. This is from Justo Perez. Wonderful show, content and delivery. I love the Aussie attitude, energy, humanity. Oh my gosh, and plain speaking, guys sound like the Pope or something.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, that's pretty good.
The humour is the icing, the cherry, and a flushed 3-wood on the 15th at Augusta.
I remember that one.
Thank you for listening. That's great.
Very, very nice.
But you notice the difference where Rory hit a 7-iron, I'm hitting 3-wood.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Busting it. Yeah. Busting it.
Damien has written in. Damien, hey guys, I've just got back from a trip to King Island. It was amazing. And I was reflecting on, Mark, your rants about, that's his word, by the way, not mine,
okay.
about Cape Wickham versus Royal Melbourne. On Mark's list of criteria of courses I'd like to play every day for the rest of my life, I can see the argument for Royal Melbourne being on top. But if the list criteria is bucket list of courses that I want to play at least once in my life, I don't reckon you can go past Cape Wickham. Every hole is so slap-in-the-face gorgeous, it's got to be the top of a bucket list.
I don't mind that thinking at all. That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, we should have a bucket list top five and things you want to get to. And that could be if Golf Digest want to do that, top 50 bucket list courses, nothing wrong with putting Cape Wickham at number 1. Nothing.
Pete Brown heard your comments on Tommy Fleetwood, Nick.
Okay.
And he agrees with you.
Oh.
Tommy has never won a PGA Tour event.
Good on you, Pete.
What hope has he got for a major? I agree. He's a nice guy, but he doesn't have a killer instinct.
I'll just leave it at that.
I don't think you said he didn't have a killer instinct, by the way.
No, I never said
that's what
anything
Pete's
like
saying.
that. I feel he's the Colin Montgomery of the current tour.
Something special's got to happen.
Something has to.
Something special has to happen. And funnily enough, the way he hits the ball, it being a tee to green course,
Quail
Hollow could be it, Nick.
Well, I kind of got the wrong. No, I sort of got the
You'd be happy
Rory
to
thing
see
wrong.
him win. You'd be happy to be
I would
wrong.
love to see
You'd
him
love
win.
to be wrong.
It's like I love to see Rory win the major
that's right.
at Augusta. I mean, it was brilliant.
No, everyone loves Tommy Fleetwood.
Yes,
everyone
great
loves
guy.
him. I hope you're wrong. I know you hope you're wrong. We all hope he wins a tournament.
Him and his
a
caddy,
major.
they're both great
He
blokes.
deserves one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you guys talked last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, about the caddy doing the backwards aim point, straddling the hole.
Yes.
And we had
He should have been fined.
Yeah.
In my world, he
Whose
would have
caddy,
been
what
fined.
was that again? I was trying to remember. It was Tommy's.
Yeah, Tommy's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
McFinnis. Yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
Joe wrote in, genuine question, guys. What exactly is the caddy doing here which you see as wrong?
It's etiquette. If a player's doing it, I get it. But you just don't want too many footprints near the golf hole. And I grew up playing in a day where the caddy, you had to attend the pin.
Mm-hmm.
The caddy would attend the pin in such a way that the pin would be on an angle so that his feet would not get close to the hole.
I'd try and be 4 or 5 feet away.
That's right, because that area close to the hole is a sacred area. You do not want footprints. And this is what I try and make this point to a lot of people. Putting greens aren't billiard tables. They are not perfect. There are pitch marks, there are heel print marks, there are putter marks when a player doing the wrong thing leans on his putter to pick up a golf ball and leaves an indentation. All these things are frowned upon. And when you've got too many people getting in that sacred, I'm going to say, 4-foot area around the hole, that's not the way we do things in golf. We've got to keep that 4-foot circle pristine. And when you've got caddies backing in, that's too many footprints. That's too many. It's too much for the next group and the group after who are coming. And like I said, you remember the days.
Yep.
Players used to get angry at other caddies if they attended the pin and stood close to the hole. That's why they always did it on an angle.
And we're always looking at through lines. If your ball
That's
goes
right.
past the hole, is it going to be on my line? So you're always careful of that. And it's just adding another set of footprints to the equation, and maybe 3 if all 3 caddies are doing
That's right.
it. So
it's etiquette. Etiquette must be in the back of every caddy's mind and player's mind. It's just the way we do business in professional golf.
Well, Paul agrees with you. Paul said, absolutely, it's not okay. Also, let's ban aim point. And while we're at it, ban alignment markings on the ball and ban putters over 36 inches long.
Yes, ban everything. Let's go.
talking my language right there. Who was that from?
Good stuff.
That's from Paul.
Paul, you're right there with me.
You are
welcome. Right there.
You
Putter.
are welcome on this podcast
Putter.
anytime.
Shortest club in the bag, the putter.
Done.
Get rid of aim point.
Done.
Get rid of lines on
Tick,
the ball.
tick, tick.
Thank you very
Tick.
much. Hey.
Bloody hell.
We'll be playing in under 3 hours.
Last week, you were talking about the top 5 most unique holes in world golf, Mark.
That's right.
And one of the ones that you mentioned was the road hole.
That's right.
Which it's certainly unique.
It is.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You couldn't design it these days.
No, you'd be putting the padded cell. If Oglivy, Clayton and Mead designed the road hole anywhere.
Oglivy, Cocking and Mead.
If Oglivy, Cocking and Mead, sorry Michael, designed the road hole anytime soon, they'd be putting the padded cell.
Yeah, well, PC Newman heard that and wrote in and said, the way Cam Smith played the road hole, I think, is what won him the 150th Open.
Probably. Yeah, absolutely. So many players don't go for the green. They try and dribble it on the front and they're
right.
very happy with their either a chip or a putt.
Yep.
Really happy. So it's one of the only holes where they're not aiming at the green, really.
I never went for that green in 2 unless I had a short iron with the perfect number. Otherwise, putting it front right and just get it up and down.
Yeah.
If you make 5, you're okay, but take 4 any day of the week.
That's right. And, the old 11th at Augusta too, before they put the big dip on the right-hand side, Ben Hogan famously said, if you ever see me on that green, it was a mistake.
Yeah.
If you ever see me on that green in 2, it was a mistake. But that's before they put this huge dip on the right-hand side, which kind of makes you go at the green now. You wouldn't have much option. You don't want to be chipping up to that thing and then have the ball running down to the pond.
Now, we've got a message from Matt in Brisbane who's taken umbrage at something you have said about the greatest shot ever made, Mark.
Yes, okay.
And he has an alternate view that he would like to put to you.
Okay.
Righto. G'day, Matt. Thanks for getting in contact with us.
Hi, Mark. Hey, Nick.
Matty.
Hey, Matt.
So what's your alternative to Rory McIlroy as being the greatest shot in the history of the game?
I can't wait to hear this.
I think personally, I think it's a very good shot, Mark.
Yes.
I put my view in that Jack Nicklaus's one iron was still the greatest.
Yes. Yes.
I heard you on your feedback pod talk about the situation Rory was in.
Yes.
And I think if you go back and look at Vijay Singh winning his Masters in the year 2000, he had probably the same shot as Rory, but harder. Had to swing it around the trees even more. And I think when you look at the situation that you talk about, Rory coming off that horrible shot on 13 and 14 and trying to win the Grand Slam, and I think if you look at what VJ was trying to do as well.
What was most important in VJ's world at that stage?
Well, winning his second major, winning the Masters at the first time, and I think we all know. I think we all know how the Masters rolls.
Yeah.
And I actually had a friend caddying that week for Nick Felder, and he said the banter, and I mean, you look at Rory, he had the whole world on his side. I mean, you look at VJ's walking down the fairway, absolutely bay 13, getting heckled.
Yeah. I believe that.
And look, I mean, VJ's VJ, isn't he? I mean, maybe some of it comes from himself, but still, I mean, what he was trying to do and put that jacket away, and he was leading at the time, but to swing that round, a la Rory McIlroy shot with a 5-iron to that full left pin.
Yeah.
Hardest shot in my eyes.
Yeah, no, it's a fabulous shot, but I still contend that Rory's was better, and Rory trying to complete the Grand Slam, the career Grand Slam that had been trying to complete for how many years? 10 years. Pressure every single year. I love where you're coming from. I can't actually remember the shot, which kind of goes against you a little bit, Matt. I can't remember that shot.
I guess the other thing is Rory had just screwed the pooch.
Yes.
So he's behind.
He had to go for it.
VJ is leading,
it.
so if VJ knocks it in the water, he could still win. If Rory knocks it in the water, it's over. So I'm still coming to his defence here. So I don't know what I'm
crazy.
doing.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Now, guys, I've got Qantas.com on the computer here. I'm about to book Matt's flight to play Kingston Heath with you, Mark.
Not quite.
Should I cancel that booking?
Not quite. But where do you play golf, Matt? Whereabouts do you play?
I play up in Brisbane. It's Royal Jindalee.
And what's that like? I've never been there.
It's a little nine-holer.
Beautiful.
Plonked in the middle of a suburb called Jindalee. It's really a pub with a golf course on it.
Oh, so that's I'd love to come and play if it's a golf course like that. That sounds fabulous.
It's a great little track.
Sounds like the Philadelphia Cricket Club, maybe.
It could well be. Hey, Matt, thanks so much for listening every week. We really appreciate your input. And say hello to everybody at Jindalee for us.
Yeah. No, will do. Thanks.
Good on you.
Thanks, Matt. Cheers.
Hey, how good's that, old Matty? How good does Jindalee sound? A pub with a golf course, a little 9-holer around it. There needs to be more of those.
Oh, imagine the banter and the drinks afterwards, or before, or during.
Have we got a reason to go up to Queensland? Have we got any kind of reason to go up there and do a show from Jindalee?
Hey, maybe at the end of the year.
Well, maybe we should go to the PGA.
PGA?
Yeah, maybe.
When's that, November?
November.
Maybe. Well, here's an opportunity too. If you're at a golf course just like Jindalee, a 9-holer or an 18-holer that's a pub with a golf course in reality, let us know about it. We'd love to hear about that sort of stuff. Just get in touch with our socials. Let's give them a good plug because they sound like fun places to be.
There's one criteria, though, for you, Mark. They need to serve shandies because I know you love shandies. I mean, it's disgraceful, but you do.
I do like shandies.
Yeah.
So organise one of those.
All right, are you ready for the Ping Globals?
Yes, please. Still not quite Narcos.
I know. Well, you still haven't. Has Timmy Trumpet got back to you?
Timmy Trumpet has not got back to me.
Still nothing. Okay.
Cricket.
We'll keep working on it.
I'm disappointed.
All right. Well, this week's Ping Global results. We had the PGA Tour in Dallas where the local boy Scottie Scheffler crushed everyone. The CJ Cup, the Byron Nelson. Unfortunately, the Byron Nelson's turned into a lower tier event, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, when I played it, I'm sure when you were over there, it was huge. It was one of the premier events on the tour.
It looks like a better course, though. I
Yes,
played.
to the
I
other one.
played, and I worked
Yes.
at Los Colinas.
I remember that, yeah.
when I was a kid, and it was a garbage course. And the one, there are actually 3 courses there. There's a golf course where I worked where they played the Seniors Open. Richard Green does well there every single year. And then there's 2 courses at the Byron Nelson. The course you don't see that they actually play, the first hole is shaped like Texas, and there is a bunker in the shape of Oklahoma. I mean, that's the sort of golf course we're talking about, folks. It was no oil painting.
No, that's crazy.
Los Colinas.
You got to feel for Eric Van Rooyen, though. He went out in the final group, shoots an 8 under 63 and still loses by 8. I mean, you're in the final group, you shoot 63 and you lose by 8. What does that tell you? So anyway,
and I'm glad they overseeded too. Sometimes the courses in Dallas this time of year, they're not overseeded. And they look terrible. But what they did at McKinney looked fantastic.
No, did a really good job. But he equalled the 72-hole record, 253 strokes, 31 under par. Best of the Aussies was Kyle Phillips.
Really?
Kyle Phillips, sorry, tied 49th. Not a great week, but he made the cut.
Making cuts.
And Cam Davis and Ryan Fox were tied 60th, the other Australasians in the field. LPGA Tour, we had the Black Desert Championships in Utah with that fabulous lava rock that they were showing. And
Looked fabulous.
Korean Haeron Ryu, who had the 54-hole lead last week at the Chevron, the major.
Don't tell me.
Unfortunately, kind of threw that one away, shooting a 76. She put that disappointment behind her because she had a 2-shot lead going into the final round this week, and she converted.
Thank God.
Shot 64 for a 5-shot win over Germany's Esther Heinzeleit and China's Ronan Yin.
Esther looks like a likely type.
Good player.
By the way.
Yes.
Good swing and good type of golfer.
Indeed.
I'm glad that young lady has won after failing the week before.
Yeah. There's nothing like getting back on the horse and going
Good
hard. So well done to her. And as we saw earlier, Steph Kyriakou, best of the Ollies, tied for 6th with that albatross on the final hole, leapt her up several spots. Also in the top 10 was Grace Kim, tied for 9th, and Robin Choi was the best of the rest of the Aussies, tied for 20th. Live Golf was in Korea, where earlier in the week, Bryson DeChambeau didn't have much love for the bunkers, where he...
Didn't he blow up?
Called them the worst in the world, or to that effect. But obviously he didn't hit it in any bunkers because he ended up winning.
Did he know he was on camera saying that?
I think probably. But you always know someone's filming. You always know, don't you?
I wonder if he knew the bloke was going to post it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, anyway.
Because it didn't look good. But,
didn't look great.
He wouldn't have. I don't think he would have carried on like that if he knew.
Yeah, maybe.
It was going to be posted.
There was a few F-bombs dropped, but hey, we're all, he was having a few hits out of there, but he just needed a bunker lesson off you. You're the greatest bunker player in the world.
I can show you how to play.
Self-proclaimed.
Terrible bunkers. It's no problem.
Anyway, he had a 2-shot win after shooting a final round 66 over his crusher teammate Charles Howell III, who came home in a 63.
He's still playing well.
Well done, Chucky 3 Sticks.
Yeah, he's still playing well.
He's still going very well, but it was a clean sweep for the crushers. They won by 9 strokes from Team Smash.
Yep.
And then Talk were third back, another 8 strokes back.
Who came last? Our boys?
No, it wasn't the Majestics. I think they were in 9th. So, they're getting better.
Well,
they're on the improve.
Huge week if they finished 9th.
Exactly.
It's massive.
Team Ripper, unfortunately,
ass.
didn't quite get the podium. They were tied for 5th. Cam Smith had a good week, tied for 7th. Lucas Herbert tied for 13th. Leash was tied 34th, and Matt Jones tied for 42nd. On the Asian Tour, they had the Mekong Open in Korea, where Doyob, I think that's how you say his name, Doyob Mun. You just say it is every time.
No, it is. I heard him on the telly.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, that's how you say
it's
his
unusual
name.
spelling, but he started 6 shots back and stormed home with 6 birdies on the back, 9 to shoot, and 8 under 63 for a 3-shot win over 3 players. An incredible effort for him. Best of the Aussies, Travis Smythe tied for 24th. And we had Jed Morgan tied for 30th and New Zealander tied for Nick Voken 30th as well. In Japan, we had the Crowns tournament in Nagoya Golf Club in Aichi. Yosuke Asagi had a 1-shot win, snapping a 4-year winless drought, so well done to the Japanese player. Brad Kennedy tied for 17th, Michael Hendry tied for 21st, 21st, best of the Australasians.
How old Brad Kennedy?
How old? I think he's 49. He might be 50. Oh, no, 50. Did he go to Q school? I think he did.
He might have. Well,
I think he went to Champions Q school.
Still playing in Japan.
Well, he's proven tournament winner over there. He's exempt
Good
for
on him.
a long time over there. So I'm sure he wants to get to that Champions Tour, though. And when he does, look out. Look out. No, I think he is 50. Yeah, he is.
Yep.
What else do we have? On the Champions Tour, the Insperity Invitational, they were at the Woodlands. I'm assuming that was where they played the Chevron, the same golf course.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I like how they do that. Then you got the course set up, you got the grandstands. It's perfect. I wonder if they left that 18th hole grandstand there. They probably did.
Oh, I didn't look.
I didn't see it.
I should have looked.
I didn't see the coverage, unfortunately. But anyway, Stuart Sink, Old Kitchen, birdied the first playoff hole to defeat Retief Goosen, the South African, who's always there. Retief, he's an unbelievable player. Best of the Aussies, Steve Allen, tied for 4th. Good result. And in tied for 11th was Cam Percy and Richard Green. And that kind of wraps up this week's Ping Global results.
I played with Retief. He used to come down to Australia when he first turned professional. You know how sometimes they say he bowls a heavy ball? My God, he hit a heavy ball, Retief Goosen. It stayed hit.
Yeah, he's a solid unit. Played a fair bit of golf with him. Lived at Isleworth, same community. Did the best barbies.
Did he?
He's got some. He did some great barbecues and his wines. Get onto the Goosen wines. They're incredible, by the way.
Has he got his own label?
He's got his own label from South Africa. He does a beautiful Pinot, Shiraz, the whole thing.
You need a label, Nick.
Yeah, maybe a Talk Birdie To Me wine. What do you think?
Oh, that could work.
We're not going to do any shandies. I know that. So.
Well, that's the Ping Global results. Thanks to Ping, they will help you play your best. Righto, masterclass time. Mark, you're up, yeah?
Yeah, I'm up, and we're doing it in our little practice range right here.
Ooh, okay. We'll do that. We'll do that in 30 seconds.
Yep.
For Watch Phone numbers, download from Google Play or the App Store.
I watched an awful lot of golf on the weekend, and I'm noticing stuff. I'm noticing what players are doing in their pre-shot. And a lot of what might look like an idiosyncrasy to you, when Nick and I look at it, we can see what they're actually doing. I see so many players down here a little bit, Dan, and have a look at these beautiful shoes too. The FootJoy, magnificent, the best shoe I've ever worn. Go to footjoy.com.au. They are available right now. But you will see players fiddling around. It'll look like they're fiddling, you know. They're tapping their feet and they're putting the club not behind the ball, they're putting the club there while they're looking at the target. They'll jump up and down, they'll keep moving, and then when they put both hands on, they move their weight to the ball. They don't reach for the ball. They set up there and then they move their weight to the ball. And this guarantees that your weight is in the right spot. Nick, you'll remember this. Greg Norman used to always kind of have this kind of little motion where his knees would jump up and down. And that was just getting his feet into the ground. We heard Brad Hughes talk about that when we did an episode with Brad. It's the same thing. They set up here, he turns his feet, and then he moves his weight forward so that the club lines up with the ball. It looks like they're messing around, but there is method to the madness. So if you're having trouble getting your weight on the right spot, because I see so many people tapping their toes, and I almost guarantee if you're tapping your toes and not moving forward, your weight will be in the wrong spot. So if you're a toe tapper, tap your toes back here and then move your weight forward so that the club lines up with the ball. And I guarantee you're going to play better golf. Anyway, that's it from me. Nick, come up here.
Yeah, beautiful.
Well done, and we'll see you guys next week.
Cheers.
And that's been Talk Birdie To Me, Australia's most popular golf podcast, with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen, coming from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. As everyone knows, Titleist is the #1 ball in golf, and FootJoy, the #1 shoe and glove in golf. Wherever you get your podcasts, make sure to subscribe, maybe leave a review, and we'd love you to share the pod with a friend who loves their golf. Huge thanks to our fantastic partners. Ping, like they do for Nick O'Hearn, will help you play your best. You can see your local golf shop or professional for a Ping club fitting. The Golf Clearance Outlet always beat everyone's prices. Visit golfclearanceoutlet.com.au for your nearest store. Watch My Numbers is the most powerful data-based golf app in the world. You can download from the App Store or Google Play. And better, they've got the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. Download from the App Stores today. Now that's better. Keep in mind, what are you really gambling with? But for now, from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, Thanks for being a part of the show. We'll see you next time.